There is a bridge in Ukraine that locals call the Bridge of Death. On the night of April 26, 1986, just minutes after the explosion, the residents of Pripyat gathered on this bridge. They came to watch the fire. The reactor at the Chernobyl power plant was burning. It wasn't a normal fire. It glowed with a beautiful, hypnotic blue light, the ionization of the air itself. It looked like a laser beam shooting straight up into the night sky, connecting the Earth to the stars. Families stood on the railway bridge to get a better look. They held their children up to see the glow. They laughed, they chatted, they admired the view. It began to rain, but it wasn't water. It was gray ash. Radioactive graphite from the core was falling on them like snow. They tasted it. It tasted metallic, like copper or blood. Legend says that every single person who stood on that bridge that night died. They were witnessing the most expensive catastrophe in human history, a disaster that would release 400 times more radiation than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. But they didn't know that yet. To them, it was just a fire. Welcome to the Silent City. Welcome to Primal Files. To understand the silence, we must first understand the noise. At 1:23 a.m., deep inside the control room of reactor number 4, a button was pressed. It was the AZ5 button, the emergency shutdown. It was supposed to stop the reaction. Instead, it triggered the apocalypse. The floor of the reactor hall, a 7,000-ton biological shield, jumped into the air. The roof was blown off. The core of the reactor, the very heart of the machine, was exposed to the open sky. Inside the control room, the men didn't believe it. Their instruments told them the radiation levels were impossible. They thought the meters were broken. When a trainee reported that the reactor was gone, the deputy chief engineer told him he was delusional. "The core is intact," he said. "We just need to get water into it." They sent men into the darkness to turn valves. Those men walked directly into a beam of radiation so strong it changed the color of their eyes. They died within weeks, their bodies turning black as the DNA unraveled in their cells. Denial was the first symptom of the disaster. Outside, the first responders were arriving, firefighters from the local station. They were told it was a simple roof fire. They weren't told it was chemical. They weren't told it was nuclear. They wore simple canvas jackets and rubber boots. No lead, no masks. They climbed the ladders toward the burning roof. As they stepped onto the asphalt, their boots began to sink. The roof was melting, not from fire, but from the heat of the radiation beneath it. One firefighter, Vasily Ignatenko, climbed to the very top. He saw blocks of black minerals scattered on the ground. He kicked one aside. He picked one up. It was warm. He didn't know that he was holding raw graphite from the reactor core, emitting enough lethal radiation to kill a man in minutes. Within an hour, the firefighters began to vomit. Their skin turned a dark, violent red, what doctors call a nuclear tan. They collapsed on the tarmac. They had extinguished the fires on the roof, but the fire inside their bodies had just begun. For 36 hours after the explosion, the city of Pripyat lived as normal. This is the most terrifying part of the story. Not the explosion, but the silence. The Soviet government knew the air was poisonous. They knew the streets were becoming radioactive, yet they said nothing. They didn't want to cause panic. They didn't want to look weak to the West. So, on Saturday morning, the sun rose, weddings were held, children played in the sandboxes, digging their hands into soil that was already glowing with isotopes. A parade was planned for May Day. The radiation levels in the city were rising by the hour. By Saturday night, the levels were thousands of times higher than normal. The pine forest next to the power plant turned a rusty ginger color and died overnight. It is still called the Red Forest today. It wasn't until Sunday afternoon that the buses arrived, 1,200 of them, a convoy stretching for miles down the misty highway. The announcement finally crackled over the city loudspeakers, a woman's voice, calm and steady. Attention, comrades. Due to an unsatisfactory radioactive situation, you are being evacuated. It is temporary. Pack for 3 days. 3 days. That was the lie they told to keep people calm. 50,000 people walked out of their doors. They looked around their apartments one last time. They left their family photos on the walls. They left their dinner plates in the sink. They locked their doors, thinking they would be back on Wednesday. They took their ID cards, a change of clothes, and some food. They were told they could not take their pets. Dogs and cats were not allowed on the buses. The fur of the animals was radioactive. As the buses pulled away, thousands of dogs ran after them. They chased the buses down the road, barking confused until their hearts gave out or the buses vanished into the distance. The city was empty, but it wasn't silent. Not yet. The howling of the abandoned animals echoed through the concrete canyons for days. Then, the squads came. Men with rifles were sent into the city. Their orders were simple: don't let them suffer. They went from house to house. It was a primal, brutal necessity. Within a week, the howling stopped, and true silence fell over Pripyat. By day 2, a new threat emerged, a threat that could wipe out the entire continent of Europe. Beneath the burning reactor lay a massive pool of water, coolant for the power plant. The nuclear core was melting. It was turning into lava-like substance called corium. If that molten lava melted through the floor and hit the water, it would cause a massive steam explosion. Physicists calculated that this second explosion would yield between 3 and 5 megatons. It would level the city of Minsk. It would render Ukraine and parts of Europe uninhabitable for centuries. Someone had to go down there. Someone had to swim into the radioactive water and turn the valves to drain the pool. 3 men volunteered: Alexei Yanenko, Valery Bespalov, and Boris Bananov. They were known as the Suicide Squad. They put on wetsuits, they took dosimeters, and they walked into the pitch-black basement of the reactor. The water was knee-deep. It was murky and radioactive. Their flashlights flickered and died due to the intense ionization. They were left in total darkness, fumbling for the valves by touch. Every second they spent down there, the radiation was tearing through their wetsuits. They knew they were likely walking to their deaths. They found the valves. They turned them. They heard the rushing sound of water draining. They saved Europe. And for decades, history forgot their names. The water was drained, but the roof was still covered in graphite debris. The radiation was shooting straight up into the atmosphere. To seal the reactor, they needed to build a sarcophagus, a massive concrete tomb. But first, the roof had to be cleared. They tried to use robots. The Soviet Union sent its best lunar rovers. Japan and Germany sent advanced machines. One robot, nicknamed the Joker, was sent onto the roof. It moved for 30 seconds, then died. Its circuits were fried instantly by the invisible rays. The radiation was so strong it destroyed machines. So the commanders made a chilling decision. They would use biorobots, humans. 3,000 men were sent up to the roof. They were soldiers, reservists, young men. They wore coats lined with heavy lead sheets. They wore lead underwear. They were told they could only work for 45 seconds at a time. Run out, shovel one pile of debris, throw it in the hole, run back. 45 seconds. That was the limit. Any longer and your nervous system would begin to shut down. Many of these men reported a metallic taste in their mouths. They said their teeth felt loose. They said the air glowed and felt thick, like walking through water. They cleared the roof piece by piece with their bare hands. They were given a certificate and 100 rubles. Many of them died young. Meanwhile, in hospital number 6 in Moscow, the first responders, the firefighters from that first night, were dying. Radiation sickness is a horrifying way to go. The body destroys itself from the inside out. The bone marrow stops producing blood. The skin turns black and peels off in sheets. The organs liquefy. Vasily Ignatенko, the man who climbed the roof, was there. His wife, Ludmila, bribed the nurses to let him see him. They told her, "Don't touch him, don't kiss him. He is not a husband anymore. He is a radioactive object." He died 14 days later. He was buried in a lead coffin, welded shut under 6 feet of concrete. Even in death, he was dangerous. Deep in the basement of Reactor 4, there lies a monster. It is a 2-meter-wide mass of melted sand and concrete and nuclear fuel. It flowed like lava, then froze. They call it the elephant's foot. When it was first discovered in December 1986, it was the deadliest object on planet Earth. Standing next to it for 30 seconds would cause dizziness. 2 minutes would cause your cells to hemorrhage. 5 minutes meant death. It was so hot, it was burning through the concrete floor. Scientists had to shoot it with an AK-47 just to break off a piece for testing. Even today, it sits there in the darkness, silent, still warm. It is eating through the floor, millimeter by millimeter. It will remain deadly for the next 100,000 years, long after our civilization is gone. Long after the pyramids have turned to dust, the elephant's foot will still be there, waiting. There's a chilling prophecy that the locals whisper about. In the Bible, in the book of Revelation, it says, "And a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and the name of the star is wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter." In the Ukrainian language, the word for the wormwood plant is Chernobyl. Was it a warning or just a coincidence? Today, Pripyat is a place of contradictions. It is a dead city, yet it is full of life. Without humans to hunt them, wolves, bears, and horses have returned. They roam the empty streets. Trees grow through the floors of gymnasiums. Moss covers the bumper cars. It is a reminder of a primal truth. Nature does not need us. If we were to disappear tomorrow, the world would not end. It would simply grow over our concrete. It would bury our mistakes. Pripyat is not just a tragedy, it is a time capsule. It is a vision of Earth without us, a silent warning of what happens when we try to master forces we do not understand. The city waits. The Ferris wheel creaks in the wind. The dolls sit in the dust, and the silence continues. This is Primal Files.